One of my clients' businesses just eliminated a $4,000 a month employee, a real person in the United States, replaced by an AI agent I built inside of OpenClaw that has now been running this role for the last 30 days. That's $48,000 a year in overhead gone, plus 6 to 8 hours a day of work completely replaced by an agent. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what she does and how she does it. My name is Andrew. I run 11 AI agents across 3 businesses, 2 of which are 7-figure businesses. I've logged over 700 hours building inside of OpenClaw at this point and took my AI agency to multiple 5 figures without hiring a single human employee. So here is the situation. One of my clients runs a consulting business. The way their business works is super sequential. A client gets on a call, gets a set of action items after the call, and has to complete those action items before they qualify for their next consulting call. The whole middle piece between the calls used to require a full-time customer service coordinator, a real person that is based in the US and cost about $4,000 a month. And here's what the role actually entailed on a day-to-day basis. Now, after every single consulting call, the consultant would post and upload a post-call notation or a PCN into the client's profile in ClickUp. The customer service person would then have to go and read through those notes and figure out what action items the client needed to complete before getting on the next call, and then create subtasks for the rest of the team to follow up on. Then, after that, once the client was marked as next round eligible in the CRM, meaning they'd done what they needed to do in order to qualify for the next consulting call, the customer service person had to message the client inside of Slack. They had to coordinate a time, handle the back and forth between the client and them, book it in on Google Calendar, and then go back into ClickUp and update the client's status to call booked inside the CRM. That is 5 to 6 distinct tasks all day, every day, for every client. Now, that's a $4,000 a month problem, and I'm going to show you how I completely solved it. Now, really quick, if you want to see breakdowns like this before they hit YouTube, plus the polls that decide what video I'm going to make next, you need to join my Telegram. It's completely free. I have nothing to sell you, and business owners and beginners are in there actually building and implementing what I'm teaching and asking a bunch of questions and getting value. So the link for that is down in the description below. Again, completely free and nothing to sell you. Now, Mercury is one of my 11 agents. She runs on Claude Sonnet 4.6, and she has her own role, her own brain, her own workflows, and has access to my client's full operational stack, okay? ClickUp, Slack, and Google Calendar. And she is not a chat window. She is not a workflow with AI sprinkled in on top, okay? She is a digital employee that owns this role end to end. So here is what she does, okay? When the consultant finishes the consulting call, he uploads the post-call notation, transcript, and voice note into the client's ClickUp profile, same as before. Then Mercury reads the transcript. She pulls out the action items that the client needs to complete in order to qualify for their next consulting call. She then creates subtasks for the appropriate team members in ClickUp, assigns them to the correct team members, and then tags the client as pending action items. Now, that is just step 1. That thing alone used to take the coordinator and the customer service rep 20 to 30 minutes per client every time a call wraps up. Mercury does it within minutes of the PCN being uploaded now. Now, here is where things really get interesting, okay? Once the client completes their action items and gets marked next round eligible in the CRM, Mercury picks it up automatically. She reaches out to the client directly in Slack and has the conversation and asks the client when they actually are available for their next consulting call. And the back and forth she handles is what actually proves she is actually replacing a human. She's not just simulating one at this point, okay? And if the client gives her a time that isn't available on the Google Calendar, Mercury proposes an alternative time and asks if that's what works for the client. If the client gives her multiple times, she picks the one that is actually available from the ones that the client gave her. And if the client doesn't respond within 6 hours, Mercury will send a polite little follow-up just to, make sure that they're there. And if there's still no response after after 12 hours from the original message, she sends one final nudge to the client. Then she just stops, okay? Because I've trained her to do this after she has sent 2 follow-ups, so we're not spamming the client, so she knows how to handle this. And then when the client gives her the actual time they're available and the green light, she books the call on the Google Calendar. She then goes back into ClickUp and update the client's status from next round eligible to call booked. That is the whole loop, completely closed, without a human touching it at all. And here's why this works in OpenClaw and why it would not work the same way inside of Claude Cowork or Manus or any of the other tools out there, okay? Mercury connects directly through the API keys, not MCP servers. So she has the full functionality of Slack, ClickUp, and Google Calendar. And MCP servers do not have the full functionality of the software like API keys do. Now, she runs 24/7 on a Mac Mini. She's not on my laptop, not on someone else's cloud. So when she sends a client a message, or when a client sends her a message at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, she responds. When a PCN gets uploaded at 6 a.m. on a Saturday, she processes it. And she has her own knowledge base, her own skill.md file that stores all these lessons learned. She gets sharper at this role every single week. The client interactions she handled in week 1 shaped how she handles them now in week 4. That is not a chat window with automations. That is an absolute employee at this point. One more quick thing. If you're getting value from this, go ahead and follow me on X. The link is down in the description below. That's where I post day to day, all of my wins, things that are on my mind, and just where you can really interact with me the most. So if you want to go ahead and follow me, the link is down in the description below. So let me give you the actual numbers from the last 30 days of running this, okay? $4,000 a month in salary completely eliminated. That's $48,000 a year my client is keeping in the business instead of paying out in overhead. That is also 6 to 8 hours per day of work that is now handled by an AI agent. That used to be the customer service coordinator's full workload. We didn't even need to absorb most of it at this point because we lightened the other team members as well and their workload through other agents I've built for this client. The work just simply doesn't need to be done by a human anymore. And here's what this actually means for my client. They get to pour that $48,000 back into growth via marketing and getting more clients. Their team works on revenue generating tasks while Mercury handles the day-to-day operations that used to drain the employee's attention and, quite frankly, my client's bank account. Now, this client never has to worry about this role anymore and saves $4,000 a month and $48,000 a year. Here's why I'm telling you this story right now instead of in 6 months from now, okay? Right now, building agents like Mercury is still rare enough that doing it for a client is just a genuine moat. But in 12 months from now, every consulting business and every business is going to have a Mercury. 24 months from now, the consultants who don't will be out of business because they won't be able to compete anymore. This is not a someday skill. It is a right now skill. And if you don't learn and take full advantage of this, you are going to be one of those businesses in the next 24 months that is no longer in business. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Andrew, how in the world did you actually build her? Okay, how does this even work, right? Because there's a lot underneath what I just walked through. How she reads a transcript and extracts the right action items. How she decides who to assign subtasks to. How she handles Slack conversation that goes off script. How she knows when to follow up versus when to back off. The SkillMD file she uses to actually get smarter. The whole architecture. How in the world did you actually build this? Well, that's going to be a separate video, and honestly, I'll only make it if enough of you actually want to see it. So if you want me to break down exactly how Mercury was built for this specific role and this specific workflow, drop a comment below that just says build Mercury, and I'll know to record that one and get that one uploaded for you guys so you actually can understand how this works completely and utterly from under the hood. Now, before we close out here, I just want to say a couple things. One, if you gained any value from this video, hit the subscribe button, okay? I am uploading content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I am live streaming every Tuesday and every Thursday. Second of all, hit that bell notification that makes sure you're notified when I actually upload new videos or I go live here on YouTube. Second is you need to join the Telegram, okay? As I said before, this is where everybody from beginners to business owners is actually coming in and influencing the type of content that I'm making. I run polls in there so that way I get to know what people are actually struggling with and then make content for. On top of that, I actually go live in Telegram as well. And today, when I recorded this video, I actually went live in there today. We had a good amount of people in there that are asking very, very good questions in regards to their business, how to utilize OpenClaw, everything from beginner stuff to business owners looking to automate. So you're not going to want to go ahead and not be in there. The link for that is down in the description below. And lastly, if you want to connect with me directly outside of just the comment section down below, go ahead and follow me on X or Twitter. Link for that is down in the description below as well. That is where you can directly DM me, and you can also interact with me there and just shoot me any sort of DM on what you're struggling with or what you need help with, and or just get my opinion on something. Now, I want to be very clear. I still use GPT 5.5 and Claude for things in my personal workflows, okay? Tools have their place, but Mercury runs this client's customer service role 24/7 on a Mac Mini while their old $4,000 a month employee is no longer needed. None of the consumer tools are going to do that, okay? But OpenClaw can. And if you want to see how I built her, comment Build Mercury down in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next video.